Yahuwah.
Amen. Glad to be here in the house of the Most High one more time.
Amen.
I won't be before you long, but I hope you can get a little understanding. Amen.
Amen.
All right, this time we'll start off with the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 1 at verse 5. As we come into this season, this time to get understanding of the word, I thank the Most High for the press that he has set before us. Some things, I know some things I didn't know and things that I found out. So I know a lot of you all sitting in those seats, sitting in those pews, the things that you don't know, you want to know to be able to make it above, to dwell with the Most High. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 at verse 1. Listen to the Bible.
But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you.
Yes.
For yourselves know perfectly that the day of Yahuwah so cometh as a thief in the night.
Uh-huh.
For when they shall say, peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child.
So the first thing we look at is different times and seasons, things that we've been on, the things that how do we get here in this place? Let's go to Bostic, chapter 1, which means what? In the beginning. He said that the day shall come as a thief in the night. We know that the Most High, he's going to come back today. He's going to judge the right from the wrong. He's going to judge the saints from the sinners.
Amen.
But one thing that we don't want to be found is being found ashamed. Amen. Being found in sin. Amen. Give me, before we jump, give me Bostic chapter 1. Bostic chapter 1 at we'll start at verse 6, Andre. Listen to the Bible.
And Elohim said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters.
Uh-huh.
And Elohim made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament.
Yes.
And it was so.
And was so.
And Elohim called the firmament Shamaym.
Yes.
And the evening and the morning were the second Yom.
Yep.
And Elohim said,
what did he say?
let the waters under the Shamaym
Uh-huh.
be gathered together unto one place.
Yes.
And let the dry land appear.
Uh-huh.
And it was so.
And it was so.
And Elohim called the dry land Aritz.
Uh-huh.
And the gathering together of the waters called he seed.
Yes.
And Elohim saw that it was good.
Uh-huh.
And Elohim said,
Yep.
let the Aritz bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed,
Mm-hmm.
and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind,
Yep.
whose seed is in itself,
Whose seed was in itself.
upon the Aritz.
Uh-huh.
And it was so.
And it was so.
And the Aritz brought forth grass,
Yes.
and herb yielding seed after his kind,
Yes.
and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself,
Yes.
after his kind.
After his kind.
And Elohim saw that it was good.
Uh-huh.
And the evening and the morning were the third Yom.
It was the third Yom. Uh-huh.
And Elohim said,
What did he say, Andre?
let there be lights in the firmament
Let there be lights in the firmaments. Go ahead, Andre.
of the Shamayim,
Yes.
to divide the day from the night,
Mm-hmm.
and let them be for signs,
Yes.
and for seasons,
And for seasons.
and for days,
Uh-huh.
and years.
So we read over in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 1, it said, of the times and seasons, ye have no need that I write unto you. So we understand that we have to learn how to keep times and seasons. What we have been put in the system that has thrown us completely off. We have been relying on the system that we trusted in. We have been relying on our clocks. We have been relying on our calendars in order to keep these days. We had an ordinance on how we keep days. The sun and the moon. We used those things. Those two lights that we had. And also we had the stars. These things, it established months for us. Let them be for days. Let them be for months. Let them be for seasons and times. This is how we kept these things. But when we lose these things and then another nation come in and give us things, we start to conform to this world. We start conforming to this time. But we understand through history, we have been in captivity. We have lost time. We have lost days. We haven't even lost the ability on how to keep our time. We kept our time when your body is made. When the sun rises, you should get up. When the sun shall fall, you should become sleepy. But what they have done, they have given us these times. They give us, say, listen, it's time for you to wake up. You have an alarm clock. That alarm clock wakes you up. Also, they tell you when to eat. When your body is hungry, you should eat. But you don't go off that. You go off these times. But we was given all these times by the Greeks. Different times, I tell you what the Greek have given us. I was explaining to the members, there's a lot of things that I learned along my life. I asked the Most High, why did I have to go through these things? But now I'm going through these things to be able to help somebody else and get off these people's system. When I pledged back in college, and they start you off and they tell you you're going to become a new man. The first thing they give you a watch because your time is starting. I had to remember when I crossed 10 weeks, 5 days, 38 minutes. Why was that important? Because after I crossed, I became a new man. I became under their system. But what I realized was that same system, America has given us these seasons. They have given us these different days. They have given us summer, winter, spring, and fall. Anybody know what these things are? They are seasons, right? Who gave that to us? The Greek gave it to us. You know where that come from? Those are our goddess. The sons, they have different sons and daughters that separate these different things. Summer, winter, fall, spring, all these things was different gods. But they just switched the name. They gave us these things. Even if when you become in Christmas, you feel like you're in a what? In a Christmas spirit. A lot of these things we learn, but we don't even think about. We had hot and cold months. We had seed time and we had harvest time. We had watches. Why were we called watches? Because we watch. We was a people who watch. But what happened is we became to get lazy. We depend on what? A system, a time. But as the people of the Yahudim, we look up, we see the sun, we say, you know what? It's about to fall. It's time for my work to what? Get ready to be finished. What happened a couple of days ago, a lot of us, we became comfortable to what? The night came upon us pretty quick. Normally we was by 8 o'clock, what tend to happen? The sun to get dark. But what happened was about 6 o'clock, that sun started dropping. So a lot of people that wasn't ready, guess what you had to do? Hurry up and get ready. That's what position we shouldn't be in. Why? Because we own these people's system. Once we watch these, it's a lot of different things, what these people in society, they do. A preacher talked about the God Chronos, the God of time. He keeps time. When you say time flies, that's where they get it from because he had wings. He flew. Even in the nighttime, when you get up, anybody heard of hypnos? Hypnos is a goddess of sleep. When you go to these different doctors, they put you on hypnosis. They put you and they teach you these things. Why are these things important? Because as the people of the Yahudim, if we lose our times and seasons, we are lost. We are lost as a people. But one thing we got to get back to is 2 ways you'll get lost. You'll lose sight of time. The first way you lose it is in a captivity. Under a ruler of somebody else, you'll lose it. Why? Because you're on their time. Another way you'll lose time is when you're under sin. Because when you're under sin, you're in darkness. You're in captivity. You don't care what time it is. But we know that it's high time to wake out of sleep. We have to be watching at all times. We lost our time. A lot of people say, well, how are we here in this room? I mean, I just can't understand. I mean, we supposed to be serving the Most High. Now we on another month. Now, listen, what we're doing right now, we're finding the right way how to live. The reason why time is so important is because when you keep time, America, it teaches you to be impatient. Why? When you look at your watch, man, I got to go. I got to get ready to ride. As the people of the Yahudim, we was a patient people. We had to wait until the waters was troubled. Then what? Our healing came. The 10 virgins, they had to wait at a door. Once those people that was ready, if you left, guess what? You missed out. It wasn't that at 1 o'clock he going to be here. No. It don't work like that. You have to wait. But while you are waiting, guess what you got to do? You got to be ready. You got to be ready at all times. So that's why 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 1. Go ahead, Brother Val.
But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you.
You ain't got no need I write unto you. Because why? You should be watching. You should be watching at all times. What they give us these different calendars. They're giving us these different things. But guess what? We got to get off these people's system.
Amen.
Because when I give you a system, you're relying on that system.
Amen.
Christmas make you spend. Halloween make you spend. Thanksgiving make you spend. And then when you don't do these things, people look at you as you out of the norm because you're not with the system. So a lot of things that's going to happen, a lot of things that we have, we're going to start bumping heads with a lot of people. I'm starting to learn that. At first it was family, but now it's some people that we got to deal with because you know what? I'm on a different time scheme than you. Listen, when you say you got to work, listen, I got to stop working. When I got to start working, you working. So a lot of things we're not going to get along with. So we're going to just look at something for a second to show you how these examples could be able to get us off. But if you don't keep the times that the Most High give, the way to watch, if you don't have the laws inside of your heart, if you don't know when to move, when not to move, or if you didn't have a lama, a teacher to be here, you'll be off. We got off as a people several times. Why? We was in captivity several times. This is not the first time we ever got off with time. It is not. Nakum Yah, chapter 8, at verse 1. The book of Nakum Yah, chapter 8, at verse 1. This is the Bible.
And all the people gathered themselves together as one man.
As one man.
Into the street that was before the water gate.
Yes.
And they spake unto Azra the scribe.
Yes.
To bring the book of the law of Moshe.
They spake unto Azra. Anybody know what Azra was?
Skilled scribe.
He was a skilled scribe. Because when you off, we were just coming out of captivity. We had a portion that came out of captivity. So in order to get back on track, you have to have a skilled scribe. Or better yet, a meaning for his name, or what? You have to have an aide. You have to have a helper. You have to have somebody to get you back on track. You're not going to find it on your own. You're not going to find it on your own. That's why you'll be lost. That's why you have a teacher. That's why you have somebody to guide you, to lead you into the right way. So they had to bring Azra, a skilled scribe. Azra, he set his heart, he set his mind to learn the law, to get in and to learn it. And then once it's time for the people to learn it, we'll get them back on track. Go ahead, continue.
Which Yahuwah had commanded to Yasharal.
Uh-huh.
And Azra the priest brought the law before the congregation.
So he brought the law. Uh-huh.
Both of men and women.
Yes.
And all that could hear with understanding upon the first yom of the 7th month.
That's right.
And he read therein before the street that was before the water gate from the morning until midday.
Correct.
Before the men and the women and those that could understand. And the ears of all the people were attentive unto the book of the law.
Yep.
And Azra the scribe stood upon a pulpit of wood, which they had made for the purpose.
Uh-huh.
And beside him stood Methodiah and Shema and Ananiah and Uriah and Micaiah and Maaseiah.
So anybody know who these people that stood beside him was? These people was priests. These people were priests that stood beside him. But even before that, these priests, they had to do something. Give me the book of Azra, chapter 10, at verse 13. Before you can stand up, these priests, these different names that you're reading, it's going to take a little while to get through these names, but these names that you're reading, they are important. They are important, according to us. This is Azra, chapter 10. Give me a verse 20, Brother Andre. Listen to the Bible.
And of the sons of Immer, Hananiah and Zebediah, and of the sons of Harim and Messiah and Elijah and Shemaiah and Jehiel and Uzziah, of the sons of Pashur.
Stop me at verse 1. Azra 10 and 1. This is the Bible.
Now when Azra had prayed, and when he had confessed, weeping and casting himself down before the house of Al-Ahim, there assembled unto him out of Yasharal a very great congregation of men and women and children, for the people wept very sore. And Shechaniah, the son of Jehiel, one of the sons of Elam, answered and said unto Azra, we have trespassed against our Al-Ahim.
We trespass against our Al-Ahim. Go ahead, Deval.
and have taken strange wives of the people of the land.
Uh-huh.
Yet now there is hope in Yasharal concerning this thing.
Yes.
Now therefore let us make a covenant with our all Ahim to put away all the wives and such as are born of them, according to the counsel of my all Ahim and of those that tremble at the commandment of our all Ahim.
So we look at this situation right here. When you start finding the law, when you start going back and learning about your heritage, you'll start learning some people or some things that you got to get rid of. The first thing that they had to get rid of was a lot of these strange wives that they had. So they had to get rid of them. Then the people and then the priests also. Go ahead, Brother Val, continue.
Now therefore let us make a covenant with our all Ahim to put away all the wives and such as are born of them, according to the counsel of my all Ahim and of those that tremble at the commandment of our all Ahim, and let it be done according to the law.
Yes.
Arise, for this matter belongeth unto thee. We also will be with thee. Be of good courage, and do it.
Yep.
Then arose Azarah, and made the chief priests, the Levites, and all Yasharal to swear that they should do according to this word, and they swear.
Yep.
Then Azarah rose up from before the house of all Ahim, and went into the chamber of Johanan, the son of Eliashib.
Yes.
And when he came thither, he did eat no bread, nor drink water, for he mourned because of the transgression of them that had been carried away. And they made proclamation throughout Yehudah and Jerusalem unto all the children of the captivity that they should gather themselves together unto Jerusalem. And that whosoever would not come within 3 days, according to the counsel of the princes and the elders, all his substance should be forfeited, and himself separated from the congregation of those that had been carried away.
That's a point right there. Azarah, he gave a commandment. He said within 3 days, everybody got to gather themselves. That's how quick we got to be able to move. Ain't no, can you go get some time? Can you go do this? Can you go take care of some things? If you didn't come within those 3 days, guess what happened? You was going to be separated. No excuses. You was going to be separated. But that teaches us about our time. We can't, like they say, different strokes. They say the world don't move by the beat of what? Just one drum. But we got one drum. We got one drum. Whatever that drum moves, that's how we got to move. At all times. That's how we have to move. But once we start getting our mindset, you know what? This is how I'm operating. A lot of things won't change in your life because you're still operating on different times. In 3 days, he said, I need everybody to be here. If you're not here, you're going to be separated. Keep going.
Then all the men of Yehudah and Benjamin gathered themselves together unto Jerusalem within 3 days.
Yep.
It was the 9th month.
Now, they didn't have no car. They didn't have no plane, no train. This was on, as Mrs. Zach said, it was on camels. What alphabet is that? Y'all know that? There you go. Good job. That means camel. That was our transportation. We had our feet. We had to go. We didn't have different teams. We couldn't find a ticket, get a ticket. These people had to be there within a certain time. And how we know that certain time? Because of the days. It kept going. I got 2 more days. I got 1 more day in order to be there. Keep going, Brother Val.
On the 20th day of the month, and all the people sat in the street of the house of all Ahim, trembling because of this matter, and for the great rain.
So a lot of things that we find out, listen, it's hard. Every time you find out something new, you become sad. Why? Because a lot of change has to be made. These people, one reason I read here, these people had to separate themselves. Imagine being in love with somebody that you got to end up separating yourself because of the word. This happened. Not only that, give me at verse 44. Not only had to separate from their wives, but what else happened? Go ahead, Brother Val.
All these had taken strange wives, and some of them had wives by whom they had children.
They had children. So guess what? That's even tight. Ain't no child support. Child support. They had children, but when the word moved, what happened? Listen, I got to separate. I don't know what I did in captivity, but now that I found the right way, what I got to do? I got to separate. That's how quick we have to move. A lot of you think, where it said in the Bible, where? When you don't operate by the word, and the word does not govern you, a lot of worldly things will govern your mind and your heart to be able to change. But we got to get off their system. We got to get off their time. We got to get off their knowledge. Once we start to establish our own in our own mind, then we'll be able to seek the Most High correctly. Jump back over and give me Ezra. Ezra chapter 8.
Nakumya?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Nakumya chapter 8. Go ahead, Brother Andre.
And continuing at verse 4.
At verse 4. This is the Bible.
Beside him stood Matthiah and Shema and Ananiah and Uriah and Hakaiah and Maaseiah on his right hand.
On his right hand.
And on his left hand, Pedaiah and Mashiel and Malchiah and Hashum and Hashbaddanah and Zechariah and Meshullam. And Azra opened the book in the sight of all the people.
Now he opened the book in the sight of all the people. Go ahead, Andre.
For he was above all the people.
He was above all the people.
And when he opened it, all the people stood up. And Azra blessed Yahuwah.
That's the same way Yahusha. Yahusha, he was above wood and he was above all the people. And the book was open right in front of him. Because everything was being fulfilled right at that time. They didn't even know it. That book was opened up right then. But only people that knew, they say, you know what? That was the Most High. That was him. Go ahead, Andre.
And Azra blessed Yahuwah, the great Elohim. And all the people answered, Amen, Amen. With lifting up their hands. And they bowed their heads and worshiped Yahuwah with their faces to the ground. Also Yahusha and Benai and Sherebiah and Jamin, Akub, Shabbathiah, Hadiah, Maaseiah, Kelita, Azariah, Josabad, Hanan, Peliah, and the Levites caused the people to understand the law.
Now these people they caused them to understand this law. All these people was priests. What they're doing, they're setting things back in order. And later on, they'll start setting up the feast that we're in right now. They found in the book of the Feast of Tabernacle, the Feast of Sakah. So they had to come in, they had to do things right then and there. But jump back over, give me Nakumya chapter 7 at verse 1. So those names that we just read, the reason that those names are important, because they played a key role, why? In separation and also in genealogy. One thing that we'll lose also in captivity is what? Genealogy. I'm now in America. I didn't say I was American. I said I'm in America. Therefore, only ancestors I can go to is probably my great-great-grandmother. After that, I can't remember. Some people can go back 4 generations, 5 generations. But it was important that you had to go back all your generations for a certain particular reason. Go ahead. This is the book of Nakumya, chapter 7. At verse 1, listen to the Bible.
Now it came to pass when the wall was built, and I had set up the doors, and the porters and the singers and the Levites were appointed, that I gave my brother Hanani and Hananiah, the ruler of the palace, charge over Jerusalem. For he was a faithful man.
He was a faithful man.
And feared Elohim above many. And I said unto them, let not the gates of Jerusalem be shut until the sun be high. And while they stand by.
So so he didn't say, don't let the gates be shut until 12 o'clock. What did he say?
Let not the gates of Jerusalem be open until the sun be high.
So only the watchers know what? When to open and close that gate. We ain't had time to be sitting around, man, I got about 30 more minutes. You know what I'm saying? We had to watch. We couldn't drift off. We couldn't do this. We couldn't do that. We had to be on time. That's why he set up watchers to do this. Go ahead, Andre.
And while they stand by, let them shut the doors. And bar them. And appoint watches of the inhabitants of Jerusalem, every one in his watch, and every one to be over against his house. Now the city was large and great, but the people were few therein, and the houses were not built.
It was not built.
And my Elohim put into mine heart to gather together the nobles and the rulers and the people, that they might be reckoned by genealogy.
By genealogy. Now I need to find out who these people are. Go ahead, Andre.
And I found a register of the genealogy of them which came up at the first.
So he found a book. He didn't find Ancestry.com. He found a book because we kept records. That's what the scribes would do. They was there to keep records. They say, you know what, this happened this time. You belong to this tribe. That's what the purpose was that was for. Go ahead, Andre.
These are the children of the province that went up out of the captivity, of those that had been carried away whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away.
Now, what verse you at, Andre?
At verse 6.
At verse 6, I don't even want you to do that. You're going to hit all these names. But go ahead and get verse 39. Give me the first 4 names. Go ahead.
At verse 39?
The
priests, the children of Jediah, of the house of Yahusha.
So now we get in a situation to where he's starting to give the genealogy of the priesthood, which is important. Go ahead, Andre.
973. The children of Immer, 1,050 and 2. The children of Pashur, 1,240 and 7. The children of Harim, 1,017.
But stop right there. I just want to give y'all a quick example on how tight their genealogy was, on how tight their record keeping was. Andre, jump over and give me at verse 60. Go ahead. Listen to the Bible.
All the Nethinims and the children of Shaluma, servants, were 392.
Yep.
And these were they which went up also from Tel-Malah, Tel-Harisha, Cherub, Adon, and Immer.
Yep.
But they could not shew their father's house, nor their seed.
They couldn't do what?
They could not shew their father's house, nor their seed. Whether they were of Yasharal.
That's us. Can you show your father's house or your seed? Brother Martinez, can you? Dave, can you? That's tight. So now if I can't show my genealogy, that means I'm not a what? Yasharal. That right there will cause you to weep. That right there will cause you to say, you know what, I'm out of place. I don't have no part here. So therefore, now we found this stuff out. You can see why these people wept. You can see why they rent their clothes. You can see why you kind of, because right now you at a situation where like, this ain't even right, man. I'm doing what I got to do. I'm here. I mean, I'm with you. Your people, my people. You know what I'm saying? Holler if you hear me. I mean, we right here. We doing the same thing. But at the same time, now we're in a situation like it's getting real tight. Now, then what happened, Andre?
The children of Deliah, the children of Tobiah, the children of Nakoda, 640 and 2.
Yep.
And the priests, and of the priests, the children of Habiah, the children of Cause, the children of Barzillai, which took one of the daughters of Barzillai, and the Gileadite to wife, and was called after their name. These sought their register among those that were reckoned by genealogy.
So we got our, this was our book by genealogy. Go ahead, Andre.
But it was not found.
I can't find it, man. Imagine being there. You in line be like, man, I used to go to the club a lot. If your name ain't on the list, you ain't getting in. If you don't know Steve, you ain't getting in. Steve on the phone, he ain't even listen to you. If your name ain't on that list, you ain't getting in. So it couldn't be found. Go ahead, Andre.
Therefore were they, as polluted, put from the priesthood.
Listen, man. We polluted. We was out of the priesthood. Just that quick. Just that day. Go ahead, Andre.
And unto Tishratha said unto them.
Which is the what?
Governor.
That's the governor. That's the ruler. That's somebody setting in order. So now, what did he say, Andre?
That they should not eat of the most Kodash things. Till there stood up a priest with Urim and Thummim. The whole congregation together was 40 and 2,000.
So that's right there is a key point. Until a priest stood up, until somebody took the stead and stood up and offered something, these people could not eat of the Kodash thing. That's the same situation where we're in right now. How can you eat up? How? Where's your record? We always say Esau going ahead. Esau, I don't trust the right man. You go ask that same black man who's saying, where's Esau? Where's your genealogy? Where are you reckoning with?
That's right.
You can't do it. Why? Because it's going to stop right there at them waters.
That's right.
It's going to start right at them waters, South Carolina, and you probably going to pick you back up at Ghana, where they left at. But where's your genealogy? How did you get here? You can't do it. So a lot of things how we count according to the flesh, we can't do it. We cannot do it. Because where's your priest that's wearing your Urim and your Thummim? I think it's written with an I.
Yeah.
But we can't, we know we don't have a what? An I. So where's your priest that's wearing this thing? So now we got to get back to the law because we don't even know what this is. Anybody know what this is? There you go. Ooh, there you go. Brother Shaw right there to the back. Give him a cookie. That's one definition of them. But really, there's no set definition because there's a lot of different definition of this. But two of them is lights and perfection. They got several meanings. They got perfect, they got truth, they got love, all kind of these different things. But that's why it's important. We got to get back because if you don't even know what this is, guess what we would be doing? We need to what? We need to search for this thing out. Man, who is this? We cannot eat of the Kadash things until we find this person. So we need to go back and I need to search out. Man, listen, Oscar, you ain't going nowhere. I need to chill with you until I find out what's really going on. Give me the book of U-R-I Shemut, chapter 28. That's the book of Exodus. Chapter 28 at verse 1. Listen to the Bible.
And take thou unto thee Aaron thy brother and his sons with him from among the children of Yasharal, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office, even Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar, Aaron's sons. And thou shalt make Kudash garments for Aaron thy brother, for glory and for beauty. And thou shalt speak unto all that are wise-hearted, whom I have filled with the ruach of wisdom, that they may make Aaron's garments to consecrate him, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. And these are the garments which they shall make: a breastplate, and an ephod, and a robe, and a broidered coat, a mitre, and a girdle. And they shall make Kudash garments for Aaron thy brother and his sons, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. And they shall take gold, and blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine linen. And they shall make the ephod of gold, of blue, and of purple, of scarlet, and fine twined linen with cunning work.
So what he's going through right now, this is what the priest had to have on before they even entered in. These are the different things that they had to have on before they entered in the most Kadash of all. These are the different garments. Go ahead, Deval.
It shall have the two shoulder pieces thereof joined at the two edges thereof, and so it shall be joined together, and the curious girdle of the ephod, which is upon it, shall be of the same according to the work thereof, even of gold, of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. And thou shalt take 2 onyx stones, and grave them on the names of the children of Yasharal, 6 of their names on one stone, and the other 6 names of the rest on the other stone, according to their birth.
According to their genealogy. Go ahead, Brother Val.
With the work of an engraver in stone, like the engravings of a signet, shalt thou engrave the 2 stones with the names of the children of Yasharal. Thou shalt make them to be set in the ouches of gold. And thou shalt put the 2 stones upon the shoulders of the ephod for stones of memorial unto the children of Yasharal.
That's right.
And Aaron shall bear their names before Yahuwah upon his 2 shoulders for memorial. And thou shalt make ouches of gold, and 2 chains of pure gold at the ends of wreathen work shalt thou make them, and fasten the wreathen chains to the ouches. And thou shalt make the breastplate of judgment with cunning work. After the work of the ephod, thou shalt make it of gold, of blue, and of purple, and of scarlet, and of fine twined linen. Shalt thou make it. For a square it shall be, being doubled, a span shall be the length thereof, and a span shall be the breadth thereof. And thou shalt set it in settings of stone, even 4 rows of stones. The first row shall be a sardius, a topaz, and a carbuncle. This shall be the first row. And the second row shall be an emerald, a sapphire.
What verse you at, Brother Val?
18.
Give me a verse 24.
And thou shalt put the 2 wreathen chains of gold in the 2 rings which are on the ends of the breastplate. And the other 2 ends of the 2 wreathen chains thou shalt fasten in the 2 ouches, and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod before it. And thou shalt make 2 rings of gold, and thou shalt put them upon the 2 ends of the breastplate, and the border thereof, which is in the side of the ephod inward. And And 2 other rings of gold shalt thou make, and shalt put them on the 2 sides of the ephod underneath, toward the forepart thereof, over against the other coupling thereof, above the curious girdle of the ephod. And they shall bind the breastplate by the rings thereof unto the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, that it may be above the curious girdle of the ephod, and that the breastplate be not loose from the ephod. And Aaron shall bear the names of the children of Yasharal in the breastplate of judgment upon his heart, when he goeth in unto the Kudash place for memorial before Yahuwah continually. And thou shalt put in the breastplate of judgment, the Urim and the Thummim.
So now we get into a high priest. Now we understand that there got to be a high priest that's going to be able to be atoned for us. These are the things that he got to put in there. He got to put in light, perfection. He got to put in righteousness. They got to have the breastplate of righteousness. These things this person has to have. These are the characteristics that they have to have. Now we know that the Most High, he went into what? The most Kadash of all. He had the children of Yasharal in his heart when he left. Jump over, brother Andre. Give me one. Whoever's next. Give me Yashayahu chapter 59. Yashayahu chapter 59 at verse 1. Listen to the Bible. Once everybody get it. Yashayahu chapter 59 at verse 1. Listen to the Bible.
Behold, Yahuwah's hand is not shortened that it cannot save, neither his ear heavy that it cannot hear. But your iniquities have separated between you and your Elohim, and your sins have hid his face from you, that he will not hear. For your hands are defiled with blood, and your fingers with iniquity.
Yes.
Your lips have spoken lies, your tongues hath muttered perverseness. None calleth for justice, nor pleadeth for truth. They trust in vanity and speak lies. They conceive mischief and bring forth iniquity. They hatch cockatrice eggs and weave the spider's web. He that eateth of their eggs dieth, and that which is crushed breaketh out into a viper. Their web shall not become garments, neither shall they cover themselves with their works.
That's right.
Their works are works of iniquity, and the acts of violence is in their hands. Their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed innocent blood. Their thoughts are thoughts of iniquity. Wasting and destruction are in their paths. The way of peace they know not, and there is no judgment in their goings. They have made them crooked paths. Whosoever goeth therein shall not know peace. Therefore is judgment far from us. Neither doth justice overtake us. We wait for light, but behold obscurity.
What do we wait for?
For light.
We wait for light, but behold what?
Obscurity.
There's a lot of people that waited for that light. Those priests that waited, those people that had to be put aside, they waited for that light. They didn't say it came at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. They waited for it. Amen. They waited for it. And when you wait for these things, listen, it will come. It will come. They waited for that light. Go ahead, Brandon.
For brightness, but we walk in darkness. We grope for the wall like the blind, and we grope as if we had no eyes. We stumble at noonday as in the night. We are in desolate places as dead men. We roar all like bears, and mourn sore like doves. We look for judgment, but there is none.
We look for judgment, but there is none. We look for somebody to come take our place, but there is none. Go ahead, Brother Brandon.
For salvation, but it is far off from us. For our transgressions are multiplied before thee, and our sins testify against us. For our transgressions are with us, and as for our iniquities, we know them.
We know our iniquity. We know where we go wrong. A lot of people, they say, well, preacher can't tell me what I did wrong. We know what we did wrong. We know what we do. We know it's in our heart. You know what? I know where I got to come up at. But if you don't be honest and know where you got to come up at, you will never overcome. You will never get the way you got to go. Go ahead, Brother Brandon. Continue.
In transgressing and lying against Yahuwah and departing away from our Elohim. Speaking oppression and revolt. Conceiving and uttering from the heart words of falsehood. And judgment is turned away backward.
Judgment is turned away backwards.
And justice standeth afar off. Where truth is fallen in the street. And equity cannot enter. Yea, truth faileth. And he that departeth from evil maketh himself a prey.
That's what we do. Every time we depart from evil, what happens? Now you out there. You become a prey. You become somebody that you don't got nobody to stand in the gap for you. We decided we want to do right. Those priests decided what? I want to get this thing right. Whatever Oswald said I got to do, I got to get this thing right. We do the same thing. We try to find a law. We don't have a genealogy. We don't have a record. But keep going. Read that again, Brother Brandon.
Yea, truth faileth, and he that departeth from evil maketh himself a prey. And Yahuwah saw it, and it displeased him.
So
that
the Most High,
judgment.
He saw it. He saw that these things wasn't right. So guess what he had to do? Go ahead, Brother Brandon.
And he saw that there was no man, and wondered that there was no intercessor. Therefore his arm brought salvation unto him. And his righteousness, it sustained him. For he put on righteousness as a breastplate.
He started putting on these clothes. He put on righteousness as a breastplate. Because you know what? It's nobody to please y'all cause. He got to come down and do this. I got to be that light. That's why over in Yukon start talking about that light. They don't want to come to the light that their deeds might be reproved.
That's right.
But you know what? They want to go, like some of our Abarim brother, they want to go out and come fight against people and say, you are the tribe of Jew, you Esau. You can't do that. You don't even got your genealogy.
That's right.
But you know what? The Most High see it. And he coming back.
Yeah.
But you know what? First he going to turn the hearts of the fathers what? Back to the children. And the hearts of the children what? Back to the fathers. That's why this word got to go out. Because a lot of people trying to hide this thing up in a enigma. Nah, it's going to be plain.
That's right.
He's going to come back. But he don't need y'all to fight. The book says vengeance is what?
Mine.
And what?
Yeah,
I'll repay. That's why, let me do it. That's why he said, I'm going to put on the what? Go ahead, Brother Brandon.
Righteousness as a breastplate. And an helmet of salvation upon his head.
I'm going to be that priest. Go ahead.
And he put on the garments of vengeance for clothing.
Listen, I'll take care of this. That's why I said vengeance is what? Let me do that. All we got to do is stand in the way. All we got to do is wait. We had to wait for that what? That high priest to come. That's why we watched. That's what we was waiting for, that man to come. Because you know what? Until he comes, then what? I'm not gonna we ain't gonna be able to eat. We ain't gonna be able to eat of the Kadash thing. Go ahead, Brandon.
And was clad with zeal as a cloak. According to their deeds. Accordingly he will repay. Fury to his adversaries. Recompense to his enemies. To the islands he will repay recompense.
Yes, sir.
So shall they fear the name of Yahuwah from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Ruach of Yahuwah shall lift up a standard against him. And the Redeemer shall come to Zion. And unto them that turn from transgression in Yaqub, saith Yahuwah.
Those people that turn. Keep going, Brandon.
As for me, this is my covenant with them, saith Yahuwah. My Ruach that is upon thee, and my words which I have put in thy mouth, shall not depart out of thy mouth, nor out of the mouth of thy seed, nor out of the mouth of thy seed, saith Yahuwah, from henceforth and forever. Chapter 60.
Listen.
Arise.
No, go ahead. Start right there. Arise, shine. That's what we need to do. We got to sleep. But that's good too. Amen. But we got to understand that. So we got somebody that's going to fight for us. Somebody that's going to come. But a lot of people, they say, well, you ain't know the priesthood. You ain't know the tribe. You can't do that. Jump over and give me Abarim, Brother Brandon, chapter 13. That's right, kinfolk, tenfolk, all that. We have to understand those things that was written in the law, it was carnal. It was good, but it was carnal. But we're looking for what? Spiritual. Because we know those things, it didn't perfect those priests. It didn't perfect them. They had to do this year by year. This is the book of Abarim, chapter 13, at verse 9. Listen to the Bible.
Be not carried about with divers and strange doctrines, for it is a good thing that the heart be established with grace, not with meats, which have not profited them that have been occupied therein.
Well, hold on. It's a good thing that what?
For it is a good thing that the heart be established with grace, not with meats.
Now you see what our heart got to be established with. Not some of these priestly and carnal things, but with grace. That's what we got to have. These are the breastplate things we have to put on. Because you know, right now, you're a priest. But it's come to a point when you will be made priest. Go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead, Brother Val.
Not with meats, which have not profited them that have been occupied therein. We have an altar whereof they have no right to eat, which serve the tabernacle.
Now, we got an altar. They can't even eat at it. We have an altar that what?
We have an altar whereof they have no right to eat, which serve the tabernacle. For the bodies of those beasts whose blood is brought into the sanctuary by the high priest for sin are burned without the camp. Wherefore Yahusha also, that he might sanctify the people with his own blood, suffered without the gate. Let us go forth, therefore, unto him without the camp, bearing his reproach.
Now, we have to understand a lot of things that they had. Jump over, give me Abarim chapter 9. Abarim chapter 9 at verse 9. Those things that those priests did, it was all carnal. Only thing they can do, they can put on professional. Guess what they had to do? Take it right back off. They could put on light, but guess what they had to do? Take it right back off. The Most High said he going to put his laws where? In our hearts and in our minds, so that we will not forget these things. Even though we be in captivity, we still can remember them because they're here in our heart. That's what we have to get to. Those priests, they was not perfected with these things. But they say, you know what? Well, we got a priest, like we can go and offer some sacrifices. We can't do that no more. We cannot do that anymore. This is Abarim chapter 9, at verse 9. Listen to the Bible.
Which was a figure for the time then present, in which were offered both gifts and sacrifices. It could not make him that did the service perfect.
It couldn't make him perfect. Even though he had on perfect, it still couldn't make him perfect. It still couldn't do it. Go ahead, Andre.
As pertaining to the conscience, which stood only in meats and drinks, and divers washings, and carnal ordinances, imposed on them until the time of Reformation. But the Mashiach, being come and high priest of good things to come, by a greater and more perfect tabernacle, not made with hands, that is to say, not of this building.
But what?
Neither by the blood of goats and calves, but by his own blood, he entered in once into the Kodesh place, having obtained eternal redemption for us.
He entered in. He became that high priest for us. He became that person what? With the lights and perfection. He entered in, continued to do it. Now we understand that we had a book of genealogy. Give me the book of Luke. Give me the book of Luke, chapter 10 at verse 20. Asa. Book of Luke, chapter 10 at verse 20. Listen to the Bible.
Notwithstanding, in this rejoice not that the spirits are
Jump up and give me at verse 17.
And the 70 returned again with joy, saying, All Ahim, even the devils, are subject unto us through thy name. And he said unto them,
What did he say?
I beheld Satan as lightning fall from Shamaym.
Yes.
Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. Notwithstanding, in this rejoice not that the spirits are subject unto you.
Rejoice not what? Go ahead, brother Ondeval.
Notwithstanding, in this rejoice not that the spirits are subject unto you, but rather rejoice because your names are written in Shamaym.
That's why our genealogy at. That's where your name is at. You ain't gonna find your name in no book down here. But that's what we strive to do. We strive to get our name written above.
Amen.
That's why our names is on his heart. He'll remember us. He gonna repay everything that we got. So that's what our press is for. You have a right to eat. They don't have the right to eat what we eating right now. They can't do it because the veil's still upon their heart. They can't see it. Jump over and give me Malachi, book of Malachi, chapter 3 at verse 16. Make sure I get this right. M-A. Chapter 3 at verse 16. Give me at verse 15. Listen to the Bible.
And now we call the proud happy. Yea, they that work wickedness are set up. Yea, they that tempt Elohim are even delivered. Then they that feared Yahuwah spake often one to another. And Yahuwah hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared Yahuwah.
Those people that fear, it's going to be a book of remembrance for you. These things, this is how we get our name in now. If you fear, if you obey, if you, every day you search, to be found of all Ahim. That's how we're going to get our names written. But now let's jump over. Let's see what do we have to put on to be able to be priests? What do we have to put on in order to fight these things that we're dealing with? Give me the book of Ephesians, chapter 6. That's why the weapons of our warfare are what? They're not carnal. They're not carnal. We have to put on spiritual things to be able to fight these things. We fought for have our genealogy in these books to be able to eat of the Kadash things. Now we need to be fighting to have our name written on high in that book of remembrance. This is Ephesians chapter 6 at verse 12. Listen to the Bible.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
We wrestle not against flesh and blood. But what, Andre?
But against principalities. Against powers. Against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
We ain't got to be wrestling with no goats. We ain't got to be doing that no more. We ain't got to be wrestling with no sheep. We ain't got to be going to catch no doves. Trying to catch a dove to offer it up. We ain't got to do all that. One offering, one sacrifice for sin that he made, that he did to become the high priest. Go ahead, Andre.
Against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of Allahim.
This is the armor you got to have on. What, Andre?
That ye may be able to withstand in the evil day. And having done all to stand, stand therefore, having your loins girt about you with truth. And having on the breastplate of righteousness.
The same breastplate he had on? Guess what you got to have on?
You got to put the same thing.
Same thing. Whatever he do, guess what we got to do? Same. We got to do it. And we went over and talked about it. It said he suffered without the gate. He suffered without the gate. He came out of, give me Shemut, chapter 14. Keep reading, Brother Andre.
And your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace.
Above
all, taking the shield of faith.
Go ahead.
Wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. And take the helmet of salvation.
Take the helmet of salvation.
And the sword of the Ruach. Which is the word of Allahim. Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Ruach. And watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints.
So the same thing he had to do, we got to do the same. We're not fighting no carnal warfare. It's all spiritual. But a lot of brothers, they try to get carnal in some things, but they don't want to get carnal with me. I try not to. I've left that life alone. But these spiritual things that we're fighting with, those are the things that's going to get our name written above. I don't need you to go hit somebody. I just need you to knock down that sin. You ain't got to keep checking all these. Let me look at the ingredients. Let's look at the ingredients what's on your body. Let's look what you're putting in this body. If we are so tight on what we look at a lot of things, let's see if they're unclean and clean. We got to see what's affecting us.
That's right.
That's making us unclean and clean.
That's right.
Man, if you do that, we'll be perfect.
Yeah.
Y'all will slap a honey bun out my hand. I don't want to say honey bun. Switch another thing. Y'all will snatch my gummy bears. I like my gummy bears, but they got some honey wax on it. I said, goodness, they making everything like that. But a lot of people, they'll say, you know what, brother, you can't eat that. You can't do that. But what happens when I step out on sin? We don't get corrected that way. That's the same way we got to treat one another. But this is the book of Shemut, chapter 14. Give me that verse, I think, 29. Listen to the Bible.
But the children of Yasharal walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. Thus Yahuwah saved Yasharal.
I'm sorry. The book of Shaphatim, chapter 7, at verse 29. Because we're soldiers. Y'all believe that? We're soldiers. But we have to follow who? Our captain. We have to follow our shepherd. We have to follow the person that came in. This is Shaphatim, chapter 7, at verse 14. Listen to the Bible.
And his fellow answered and said, There is nothing else save the sword of Gibeon, the son of Joash, a man of Yasharal, for into his hand hath Allahim delivered Midian and all the host. And it was so, when Gideon heard the telling of the dream and the interpretation thereof, that he worshipped and returned into the host of Yasharal, and said, Arise, for Yahuwah have delivered into your hand the host of Midian. And he divided the 300 men into 3 companies, and he put a trumpet in every man's hand with empty pitchers and lamps within the pitchers. And he said unto them, Look on me, and do likewise. And behold, when I come to the outside of the camp, it shall be that as I do, so shall ye do.
The same way he had to go outside the camp, guess what we got to do? We got to go outside of the camp. He said, whatever you see me do, what? You do it. Keep going, Brother Val.
When I blow with a trumpet, I and all that are with me, then blow ye the trumpets also on every side of all the camp, and say, the sword of Yahuwah and of Gibeon. So Gideon and the 100 men that were with him came unto the outside of the camp in the beginning of the middle watch, and they had but newly set the watch, and they blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers that were in their hands. And the 3 companies blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers and held the lamps in their left hand.
What verse that was? What verse that was when it said, what you do, we do? What verse that is? That's about verse what?
17.
17. Listen to the Bible.
And he said unto them, Look on me, and do likewise. And behold, when I come to the outside of the camp, it shall be that as I do, so shall ye do.
The same thing that same thing Gideon did, we had to do. Jump back over the book of Abarim, chapter 13. We get ready to come down from there. Book of Abarim, chapter 13. At verse 9. Listen to the Bible.
Be not carried about with divers and strange doctrines, for it is a good thing that the heart be established with grace, not with meats, which have not profited them that have been occupied therein. We have an altar whereof they have no right to eat, which serve the tabernacle. For the bodies of those beasts, whose blood is brought into the sanctuary by the high priest for sin, are burned without the camp. Wherefore Yahusha also, that he might sanctify the people with his own blood, suffered without the gate. Let us go forth, therefore, unto him without the camp.
We got to go the same way. We got to do the same thing. Because what he did, we got to do the same thing. Separating ourselves from sin. Suffering. Being able to be with him. The same way he put on his breastplate of righteousness, we got to do the same thing to be able to fight these things. But as a soldier, if you catch in Gideon, they still had watches that they had to do these things. I had to do it at a certain time. You got to do it at a certain time. But what we have to realize is once we get our mindset to be able to get on the path that, that we are soldiers, that we are watching, and we can't fight these things carnally, we got to fight them spiritually, that our name could be written on high so we could be able to eat of the Kadash things. We want to be able to feast in his kingdom when he come back. But if you don't sacrifice right down here, guess what? You can't do it up there because you're not even going to get up there. Because the book of Abarim, chapter 10, at verse 1, and we'll come down from there. This is the book of Abarim, chapter 10. Give me a verse, Abarim 9. Abarim 9 and 9. Listen to the Bible.
Which was a figure for the time then present, in which were offered both gifts and sacrifices that could not make him that did the service perfect, as pertaining to the conscience, which stood only in meats and drinks and divers washings and carnal ordinances imposed on them until the time of Reformation.
That's right.
But Mashiach, being come and high priest of good things to come, by a greater and more perfect tabernacle, not made with hands, that is to say, not of this building, neither by the blood of goats and calves, but by his own blood he entered in once into the Kudash place, having obtained eternal redemption for us. For if the blood of bulls and of goats and the ashes of an heifer, sprinkling the unclean, sanctifieth to the purifying of the flesh, how much more shall the blood of the Mashiach, who through eternal Ruach offered himself without spot to Elohim, purge your conscience from dead works to serve.
So now, the point that I want to make, we understand that we're priests here now. We're offering different things. We have what we have to wear. We know that the Most High, he's in the what? He's in the Shamaym. He's in the most Kadash of all. We're on our wrist. We can't make it there. We're here, but he's offering from us. That's why I say let us offer up the what? Sacrifice of praise, which is the fruit of our lips. That's what we can offer to the Most High. We can, over the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 1, we can offer what? Our bodies. Our own bodies. But we can do it right down here. We want to be in the most Kadash of all. But we have to first get these things right down here on our wrists. I thank you all for my time. Thank you all for allowing me to give you all just a little bit of knowledge to help you a little further on your journey. Thank you.
Amen.